Welcome to the chapter on data protection and its global impact. This chapter explores the definition, importance, and evolution of data protection laws, highlighting key global regulations like GDPR, CCPA, and India's DPDP Act. Gain insights into how these laws safeguard privacy, build trust, and shape the digital economy. Data protection refers to the legal and organizational practices designed to protect personal data from unauthorized access, misuse, or loss. It involves ensuring that personal data is collected, processed, stored, and shared in a manner that safeguards individuals' privacy rights. Personal data includes information such as names, contact details, financial information, and any other data that can identify an individual. Data protection laws establish clear guidelines for organizations, referred to as data fiduciaries, on how to handle personal data responsibly, including the protection of data subjects' rights. These laws also hold businesses accountable for mishandling personal data, and they provide data principals, the individuals to whom the data belongs, with rights such as the right to access, correct, and delete their data. In today's digital era, data protection is crucial as individuals' personal information is increasingly shared and stored online. Without robust data protection, people are at risk of identity theft, fraud, and privacy violations. The importance of data protection cannot be overstated, as it ensures that individuals retain control over their personal information and builds trust between consumers and organizations. Importance of data protection. 1. Privacy and security. Data protection laws ensure that individuals' privacy is maintained, preventing unauthorized access to sensitive information. It secures personal data from breaches that could lead to identity theft, financial fraud, or other harmful consequences. 2. Trust in digital systems. When companies implement strong data protection practices, it fosters trust among consumers. People are more likely to share personal information with organizations they believe will safeguard it. Trust is especially crucial in sectors like e-commerce, healthcare, and financial services, where personal data is highly sensitive. 3. Compliance with legal frameworks. Data protection laws create a regulatory environment that organizations must comply with. These frameworks provide clear guidelines for how personal data should be handled. Failure to comply with these regulations could lead to hefty fines and legal repercussions. Examples include the General Data Protection Regulation, GD in the EU, and the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, DPDP, in India. 4. Protection against data breaches. Cybersecurity threats are growing in sophistication. Data protection laws help prevent breaches by mandating organizations to take appropriate security measures, such as encryption and regular audits. Data protection ensures that in case of a breach, the organization is compelled to notify affected individuals and regulatory bodies within a stipulated timeframe. 5. Empowering individuals. Data protection laws empower individuals by giving them control over their data. Individuals can exercise their rights to access, correct, and delete their data, ensuring they are not subject to misuse by businesses or third parties. Historical development of data protection laws. Early privacy laws. The journey of data protection began with the recognition of the right to privacy, which was initially defined in legal contexts unrelated to digital data. The concept of privacy emerged as a significant concern in the early 20th century. Warren and Brandeis, 1890. In their landmark article, The Right to Privacy, they argued that individuals had the right to control their personal information. This concept laid the foundation for privacy laws and later, data protection. U.S. Constitution and common law. While the U.S. Constitution doesn't explicitly mention privacy, common law principles recognized individuals' rights to protect their personal space and information from intrusion. This became the basis for privacy laws in the United States. These early developments primarily focused on protecting individuals from physical invasions of privacy, such as unlawful searches or disclosures. However, as technology advanced, the focus shifted to the protection of digital data. The rise of digital data collection, 1960s to 1980s. In the 1960s and 1970s, the advent of computers and automated systems marked a major shift in how personal data was collected and processed. The growing ability to store and analyze large amounts of data raised concerns about unauthorized access and misuse. The U.S. Privacy Act of 1974. This was a response to concerns about government surveillance and data processing. The act regulated how federal agencies collected, used, and disclosed personal data, providing privacy protections for U.S. citizens. OECD Guidelines 1980. The OECD issued guidelines that advocated for privacy protection, stating that personal data should be processed fairly, securely, and for specified purposes. These guidelines set a global precedent for privacy and data protection laws. As digital systems became integral to society, governments realized the need for comprehensive frameworks to regulate data handling practices. The emergence of comprehensive data protection laws, 1990s present. The 1990s saw the introduction of comprehensive data protection laws as concerns about digital privacy grew, especially with the rise of the Internet. The European Union's Data Protection Directive, 1995. This directive was one of the first significant pieces of legislation governing the collection and processing of personal data in the EU. It aimed to harmonize data protection laws across member states and laid the groundwork for modern data protection frameworks. This was a landmark development for the regulation of personal data within Europe. The U.S. sectoral approach. Unlike the EU, the U.S. did not adopt a comprehensive federal data protection law. Instead, it developed sector-specific regulations like HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, for the healthcare sector, and the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act for the financial industry. GDPR 2018. The General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, introduced by the EU, was a milestone in data protection laws. It provided extensive rights to individuals and imposed strict obligations on organizations regarding data processing. This regulation is considered the gold standard for data protection laws worldwide, influencing legislation in other regions, including India. Data protection today. Today, data protection laws are evolving rapidly to keep pace with the growing use of personal data. New regulations like India's DPDP Act 2023 and the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, are examples of how countries are updating their frameworks to enhance privacy protection in a digital economy. GDPR, which became enforceable in 2018, still stands as one of the most comprehensive laws governing data protection and privacy. Key data protection regulations worldwide. European Union. General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. The GDPR is arguably the most influential data protection regulation globally. It sets strict rules for how personal data should be collected, processed, stored, and transferred across borders. It ensures the privacy and rights of individuals are respected and imposes heavy penalties for non-compliance. Key principles of GDPR include consent. Data controllers must obtain explicit, informed consent from individuals before processing their data. Data subject rights. Individuals have the right to access, rectify, erase, and object to data processing. Breach notification. Organizations must notify authorities of a breach within 72 hours. Penalties. Non-compliance can result in fines of up to €20 million or 4% of global turnover, whichever is higher. United States, California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA. The CCPA is one of the most significant privacy laws in the U.S., giving California residents more control over their personal data. It offers rights such as right to access. Consumers can request access to the data businesses have collected. Right to delete. Consumers can ask businesses to delete their personal data. Opt out of sales. Consumers can opt out of having their data sold to third parties. Penalties for non-compliance are substantial, particularly for failing to respond to consumer requests. Brazil General Data Protection Law, LGPD. Brazil's LGPD closely follows the GDPR's framework and provides comprehensive data protection for Brazilian residents. It includes rights such as data access, rectification, and deletion, with strong enforcement mechanisms for non-compliance. India Digital Personal Data Protection Act, DPDP 2023. India's DPDP Act of 2023 sets a framework for processing personal data within India. The Act introduces the following key provisions. Rights of individuals. Individuals have rights to access, rectify, and delete their personal data. Data fiduciary obligations. Organizations are responsible for the protection of personal data they process. Penalties. Severe fines are imposed on organizations that fail to comply with data protection regulations. China. Personal Information Protection Law, all China's people came into effect in 2021, regulating personal data collection, use, and storage. The law establishes stringent requirements on consent and imposes penalties for noncompliance, while also limiting cross-border data transfers. Key takeaways. 1. Data protection laws are essential. These laws ensure the privacy and security of personal data, which is critical in the digital age. 2. Evolution of data protection. Data protection has evolved from early privacy laws to comprehensive modern regulations like the GDPR and the DPDP Act. 3. Global frameworks. Global regulations such as the GDPR, CCPA, LGPD, and DPDP Act play pivotal roles in setting data privacy standards. 4. Regional differences. Different regions, such as the EU, US, Brazil, and India, have varying approaches to data protection. In the next chapter, we will take a deeper dive into India's Digital Personal Data Protection Act, DPDP 2023, focusing on its key provisions, the rights of data principals, and the obligations of data fiduciaries. Thank you for joining this session. In the next lesson, we will explore the overview of data protection laws globally, diving deeper into how this vital code operates. See you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more valuable legal insights and updates. youtube.com/prolegalminds. If you have any legal questions or need assistance, visit us at prolegalminds.com to connect with our expert team. We're here to help you navigate the complexities of the law with confidence. Stay informed, stay empowered. See you in the next session.